Today I'm going to tell you an interesting story about the life of Saint Benedict of Nursia. Saint Benedict is also known as the founder of the Benedictine order and the patron saint of students and monks. He was born in 480 AD in the small town of Nursia in Italy. He came from a wealthy Roman family and had a twin sister, Scholastica, who would later become a saint. As a young boy, Benedict was deeply thoughtful, quiet, and wise beyond his years. When he was young, his parents sent him to Rome for higher education, where he studied literature and rhetoric. But Rome at the time was falling into moral decline. The streets were wild, and young Benedict saw too much greed, immorality, and temptation. He was really disturbed by the chaos and corruption around him. Longing for peace and a life with God, he left Rome behind, abandoning his studies and wealth to live as a hermit. He wandered into the wilderness and found a cave in Subiaco, where he lived alone for about 3 years. There, he spent his days in prayer, fasting, and reflection, which became the most transformative years of his life. While he was in solitude, a nearby monk named Romanus occasionally brought him food. His holiness and wisdom slowly began to attract attention. Even though he had hidden himself away, people still sought him out for advice and spiritual guidance. Eventually, monks from a nearby monastery where he had his hermitage asked him to become their abbot or spiritual leader. He agreed, but Saint Benedict's strict discipline and rules were just too much for the monks to follow, and this really angered them. Some even tried to poison him. According to some accounts, when he blessed the poisoned cup, it shattered, which saved his life. Benedict saw this as a sign from God and decided to leave, starting fresh elsewhere. He then started to build monasteries, and later on he founded 12 small friaries in the Subiaco area. Later, he moved to Monte Cassino, where he built what would become his most famous monastery. It's called the St. Benedict Monastery in Monte Cassino, and it still stands today since it was built around the 5th century. It was also in this monastery where he wrote his famous book called The Rule of St. Benedict, a book which has the spiritual and practical guidelines for monastic life, which is still used in most monasteries today. His main way of life in the monastery was called ora et labora, which means pray and work. This meant that as a Benedictine monk, your daily life was devoted to manual labor performed as a form of prayer, which was different from other monasteries. In the year 547, Saint Benedict died peacefully. His body was buried inside the monastery he built, along with his sister, Saint Scholastica. This monastery has also been rebuilt several times because of earthquakes, attacks from the Lombards during the Middle Ages, and the World War II. Today, he is venerated as the patron saint of students and monks, and his feast day is celebrated every 11th of July. If you like stories like this, support us, follow, like, and subscribe.